bring in Shelly Palmer. He's the CEO of the Palmer Group and Professor of Advanced Media at Syracuse University. Joins me now live from New York. Good to have you. What do you make of what we've heard today? Do you think Elon Musk's lawsuit has any real merit?
You know, does it have real merit? These are triable issues of fact. He's looking for $130 billion, and he wants Sam out, and he wants Brockman out as well. And he also wants to force this company to unwind, and he wants it to go from the for-profit organization back to a nonprofit organization. In other words, he'd like to dismantle his competition. As you said, he says he's put in $44 million, and they turned it into $800 billion. Is that jealousy? He says he funded a charity, and they turned it into a for-profit company. You tell me if it has merit.
I will reserve judgment on that. During his testimony yesterday, Elon Musk said this about AI, quote, "It's like if you had a very smart child. At the end of the day, when the child grows up, you can't really control that child, but you can try to instill the right values, honesty, integrity, caring about humanity, being good, essentially." What do you make of that as a sort of analogy coming as it does from Elon Musk?
Wow, I don't even know where to start. So when you train a model, a large language model like Grok, his model, or like Chat, or like GPT, the GPT family for ChatGPT, first thing you do is you take all the available data. And then you have a North Star. So for OpenAI, their North Star was a safe for work. Let's get to AGI as soon as we can, however we define it. That was what they wanted to do. So the first thing they did was they had to filter the whole internet for the safe for work stuff. So they took out all the porn. That's probably 50% of the internet. And they tried to remove as much hate speech as they could. That's another, I don't know, third. So they're working with a smaller data set, and that model becomes biased to be safe for work. Elon took everything in the history of the universe, ingested it into Grok, didn't take out the porn, didn't take out the hate speech, got a completely different, like, which one is right, which one is wrong? These models are biased in a very specific way. Elon tried to make unbiased, and OpenAI tried to be safe for work. Everything Elon just said flies in the face of what he's actually doing with Grok. And the guys at OpenAI are doing their very best to make something good for everybody to be able to use. So I don't buy that pitch in any manner, shape, or form.
Well, OpenAI, the guys at OpenAI are trying to make some money out of this business. And what do you make of how they are doing at this point?
So look, their path to profitability is pretty suspect. Let's take Elon and just put him on the side for a minute, because basically what they're saying is, hey, Elon, you quit, and now you're mad that we're successful. Are they successful? To your question, most of their users, like on the high end of 90+%, do not pay anything to use the service, and it is very expensive to run. They are burning cash, billions and billions of dollars per month. So they've not been able to figure out advertising, and I don't think they're going to be able to figure that out anytime soon, but they're working on it. They've hired some very good people, but advertising in a context window, that's going to be a very hard sell to people who are used to having that environment be pristine. And as far as commerce is concerned, Anthropic has done an incredible job. And also, when you look at Google and you look at Microsoft and even AWS, they have the harnesses that big corporations need to use for security purposes, where OpenAI is just starting to build them all. So Google's got infrastructure they don't have. Microsoft, Amazon have infrastructure they don't have. They have completely, and those other companies have complete advertising systems, very mature, in place. It's going to be very hard for OpenAI to find a path to profitability in advertising, and it's going to be, look, at the rate they're burning cash, it may be hard for them to find a path to profitability even at the enterprise level.
Well, let's have a look at some numbers for OpenAI. This week, of course, AWS and OpenAI announced an expanded partnership. You wrote, OpenAI is on pace to burn $25 billion this year against a $30 billion revenue target. The AWS deal expands surface area for revenue, but it does not fix the math. Let's also take a look at tech earnings as a whole here. Largely strong. We see some pre-market prices here. This is US tech firms plan to spend over $700 billion this year on AI, mostly data centers. What do you make of these massive tech investments? And what do you think when you consider sort of AI second, third, fourth quarter 2026 and beyond at this point?
Every hyperscaler just told the market they're going to build out and they're going to excel at an accelerating pace. They're not going to slow down. The component costs, they're basically showing up in the CapEx line. You could see that in the earnings calls. And free cash flow is going to compress. I don't think they're going to be that sad about that. And look, they're making a trade. It's not whether AI is going to pay back or not. They're just trying to figure out who's going to finish the build out first and who's going to win this bite. You know, they're committed in every way you can say possible. Look at the money, as you just pointed out. It's what small countries spend annually. These are insane numbers that people almost can't comprehend. But the stakes couldn't be higher. At the moment, AI, as we understand it, large language models and reasoning engines, and suspected even upcoming world models need massive amounts of compute. And remember, the velocity of data is increasing and will always increase. There's no version of tomorrow where we have less data than we have today. And the job of every data center, the job of all AI, is to turn that data into action. So we're going to need these tools. We're going to need the data centers. They're absolutely right to build them. People who think that this is going to be a glut or whatever, this is the interstate highway system. It's going to go in fits and starts, but it's what we need for a world that is data driven. And they understand that and they're building it.
Data centers, of course, ended up on lists from the Iranians as targets over the past 8 weeks. It was an interesting development and really sort of, proved to us where we are at in the first quarter of 2026. I think the bell is about to ring. Our viewers will hear that, but I just want to keep you for this. The blockade in the Strait of Hormuz and its link to AI chips, with the global semiconductor supply chain exposed to disruptions in this region. Shelly, how concerned is the AI industry if this conflict, or should it be, if this conflict drags on?
Global supply chain is impacted. I think everybody is equally concerned about how long this goes on. There's no good coming of this. Certainly, it's going to have an outsized impact on transportation. It's going to have an outsized impact on supply chain across the board. All data centers, all AI companies, all of us need so much that is based on the processing of crude oil. It's hard to imagine even just carving out the AI industry. This needs to stop as soon as it can for every reason in the world, humanitarian, but also economic. This is devastating to the economy, and it's going to continue to be. Let's hope it ends soon.
It's good to have you, sir. Thank you very much indeed. It's not often we do politics with Shelly Palmer, but it's good to get your insight on that because it is massively impactful what is going on in this region for the global economy. Thank you, sir. Still ahead.